I'd always intended, you see, Mr. Holly, that Lydia should miss no more than one term. If that. And we're already almost at the end of a second and still no nearer finding a way of getting her back to school.
If only our Daisy was just that bit older herself and out of school, it wouldn't be any sacrifice for her to look after the young ones, because she's no scholard, like our Lydia. Takes more after her mother, Daisy does.
But when will Daisy be leaving school?
Not till next summer.
But you see, that's far too late. If Lydia misses a full school year, I'm afraid there's no chance of her trying for that university entrance.
Well, it's hard for her, Miss Burton, and nobody knows it better than me. But I try to manage it myself, you see, only I get the odd casual job here and there. But if ever I dropped on something regular...
No, but you see, to bring her back and then take her away again, that would be too cruel. Surely. There must be some local woman who could help you and help look after the two babies for a few hours each day.
You find me one, Miss Burton, because I've tried and better tried. You'd think we all had something catching, the way they turn their noses up. What a world we live in here, Miss Burton. Troubles all round. Still, there is one thing.
Yes?
There's always somebody worse off than yourself.
But that's no consolation to Lydia. Now, we simply must find a solution before Christmas, Mr. Holly. We must. We absolutely must.
It's going to need more like a miracle.
You don't enjoy these visits very much, do you, Huggins?
They're a duty I like to get over. I wouldn't have agreed to sit on the Mental Deficiency Committee, but they pressed me.
Well, we all know you're a useful man.
All the same, the thought of being shut away here upsets me.
The patients are warm and comfortable and decently fed.
I had a young chap come up to me just now. He remembers hearing me preach in his local chapel. You know who I am, Mr. Huggins, he said. You know, I'm as sane as you are. Please get me out of here. I'm not mad.
It's much better they were here than at home, making their relatives' lives a torment. Oh, incidentally, a piece of news that might cheer you up. I called in at County Hall this morning. The clerk told me it had a letter from Kingsport City Council agreeing to form a joint committee with us to examine the Leam Ferry Waste housing scheme.
Oh, that is good news.
Yes, isn't it? I feel now we might see some real progress. So your friend still got those sheds on the waste?
Yes. I've heard him talking about getting rid of them.
Well, no doubt he knows his own business best, but I should have thought it a mistake to let them go at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I could drink another cup, but we ought to leave some for Mrs. Beddoes.
I hope you've got a nice cup of tea waiting for me and some of your lemon buns.
Well, that's if Councillor Huggins hasn't eaten them all. I hear Maythorpe Hall is coming onto the market.
Maythorpe?
Well, so Dr. Flint heard from Dr. Campbell. He attends the Carn child, you know.
Yes, I do know. But Midge is not ill now, surely.
No, it was that unfortunate incident at the school that upset her, apparently, when that teacher laid her cheek open with a ruler.
That was months ago.
Yes, all the same, it can't have been good for her. She's an unstable little thing at the best of times. Heredity bad, of course. You ought to have her here.
Ah, Mrs. Beddoes, come in. We've got you some fresh tea and I've left you some lemon buns.
Oh, thank you.
I thought Dr. Flint was with you.
No, he was called away.
It's 2 lumps, isn't it, Mrs. Beddoes? And you must try some of that angel cake, made by one of our women who worked at the Ainsworth confectionery place. She's a marvellous cook. Did Dr. Flint mention Maythorpe Hall?
Oh, yes, he was talking about it earlier.
I believe he hoped that Mrs. Beddoes would speak to Mr. Carn, persuade him to let us have it cheap.
I don't think it would be suitable. No, nothing to eat, thank you.
Oh, but the position's excellent. The air's good. There's a grand garden, I believe. Well, we could combine a country home for the children with a farm from the men at Minston. We need both badly.
Who said that Khan wanted to sell? That's what I want to know.
Oh, it's not official. The property really belongs to the bank that holds the mortgage. But it's losing heavily. Oh, Khan's done it well, but it's been farmed extravagantly. He can't keep it up. I think we should get it very reasonably.
Isn't the house a bit dilapidated?
Well, yes, we should have to make considerable alterations to any private house we acquired.
But surely Khan would never let Maythorpe go.
In the circumstances, the choice is hardly his.
Yes, I appreciate that. But all the same, I do have my doubts. Ah, Mrs. Beddoes.
Oh, I let myself in, Robert. There seemed to be nobody about. I'm sorry.
This is nice of you. Come and sit by the fire.
As long as I'm not intruding.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Beddoes.
Oh, Miss Burton, it's you. I saw the car outside, but I never thought.
Won't you sit down by the fire?
Oh, no, I always sit here. Robert knows I prefer a straight chair, don't you, Robert?
I'll get some more tea. This has gone cold.
Don't bother. I've had some. I've been visiting the mental hospital.
Oh.
Matron there was talking about Midge being ill.
How did she come to know?
It's true, then.
Campbell's ordered a few days' rest. And what did Matron have to say?
She only mentioned it in conversation. She got it from Dr. Flint, who got it from Dr. Campbell.
That doesn't sound much like professional secrecy.
Well, anyway, you are a public institution.
Oh, the school, you mean? Well, what has the school got to do with it?
The incident with Miss Siggleswaite.
But that was months ago. Midge has quite got over that now.
That's what I said. But they seem to think... Anyway, what is wrong with her, Robert?
Oh, she's had one or two attacks of nervous hysteria.
And what does Dr. Campbell say?
Well, what can he say? His last suggestion was that she'd be better off at school amongst girls of her own age. I can't say that did much good.
Didn't do any harm, apart from that one unfortunate incident.
Actually, I was trying to persuade Mr. Khan to let Midge come to school as a boarder.
Why don't you let her come to me, Robert? That little top room is still free. She'd have company out of school, and she could go in every day with Wendy.
You know, I believe that's a very good idea.
You two women seem determined to manage my affairs for me. Now, if you've been at the hospital all afternoon, you could do with a pick-me-up. And Miss Burton?
No, thank you.
Here, I've got a bus to catch. You'll be having me up before my betters for being drunk and disorderly.
And who else was in your party?
Anthony Snaith and Alfred Huggins.
Oh. And what piece of trickery are they currently up to?
Nothing that I know of. And Miss Burton doesn't want to hear about our political squabbles.
Oh, I expect she already knows quite a lot. Joe Astle is a friend of yours, isn't he, Miss Burton?
Yes, he is.
Oh, I've got nothing against him personally. I don't agree with his ideas, of course. Couldn't understand them in a million years. But isn't it odd that he and Huggins and Snaith are so thick? Makes you wonder who hopes to get what out of it.
Hello.